everybody, this is Steven, and today I'm going to talk about the DC Collectibles Bombshells. It's a series of figures, this being the Wave 1, what you see in front of you, that covers the female heroes and villains from the DC Comics, but reimagined, wearing different kind of costumes and coming from a slightly different time period than we know them. These ladies would be wearing costumes from about 1930s or roughly 1940s to about 1950s, at least the ones you see that are in front of you. DC Bombshells was just reimagined that way so that each female character, whether she's good or evil, would be wearing different kinds of costumes that kind of blend in the historical context of United States in particular. So we're going to start talking about Wonder Woman here. And by the way, before we start talking about her, that's her right here on the far left, as you can tell, she's the tallest one of the four. The other three ladies are shorter in height than her, slightly shorter. So let's take a closer look at Wonder Woman. We all know the typical look of Wonder Woman. Well, this is something completely different now. She wears the kind of outfit, of course, with some additional modifications that historically speaking don't exist. You can still tell it's Wonder Woman because of the color scheme that she has. She has star-spangled short pants instead of a dress. She has silver bracelets and her lasso, and she also has a belt that has an emblem engraved into it. And also you can tell that instead of her tiara, she's using a bandana that has a small red star in the middle. You can also tell it's her because of the boots. The boots are her usual red boots with a bit of white and a star in the middle. But why you can tell that this is sort of a historical portrayal, in a way it is, because at the beginning of World War II, when the United States entered the war, many men from factories as well were actually sent to the front lines. And somebody had to stay in the ammunition factories and other kinds of factories to keep everything moving and keep everything going. So that's the moment when the woman stepped in and took over from men to be the workers in those factories. So there is a famous historical poster from that time period that is attracting women to join the factories and take over the production and everything and keep the line moving. She's practically done in such a way to portray those ladies who worked in the factories. That's why the outfit reminds me strongly of the way those women looked like. Of course, as I said, with these modifications that clearly say that she's Wonder Woman. Now, when it comes to her articulation, she can move her shoulders very slightly to the side, but not much. It seems that she wasn't meant to move them, let's say, all the way sideways and so forth. However, there is an articulation that allows her arms to be moved just below the elbow. They're meant to be moved all the way around, so there you go, she can do that. She also has, just below the shoulder, not below the elbow. Just below the shoulder she can move the arms sideways for sure, all the way around. And she has elbow articulation as well. She has interchangeable hands, and I'll show you which kind of hands she comes with. So the interchangeable ones meaning that you can just pull out each hand and put a different one, and each of these interchangeable hands have a little pin at the end of the hand so that you can just plug it in, and there is of course a hole in the area here where the bracelets are, so you can just plug it in. I would only suggest to be on a safe side when you're handling these hands, because those pegs look rather very brittle and they might easily break, and I've seen that happen in some of the other DC toy lines. Anyway, back to the articulation point. She can move her head all the way around, even though her hair is sculpted as one solid piece and you might think it may impede her head movement. Actually it does not, at least up to the point when she's trying to turn her head all the way to the right. But of course when you're trying to go to the left and make her turn her head all the way, you can easily do that as well, so the hair will not really be in the way. in order to do that. Not like in the case of some other female figures from Marvel or DC where the hair seems to be a problem and it gets in the way. There is no waist articulation, so she cannot do that, but in the upper part she can move above the waist. She can sort of move slightly to the left and right, but not too much. There is an ab crunch, well, sorry, there is a waist crunch right below the belt line where she can move her body a bit backwards, and then she can move it a bit forward, so that's at least a good addition. She cannot do a split. Her legs can only move very slightly apart, not much. She can bend in the knees all the way, like so, and her boots have mostly the articulation and the only articulation in the ankles, so she can move her foot forward and backward, and there is no ankle pivot. Doesn't exist in this case, like in Marvel Legends, for example. So that's as far as the articulation goes. She's very well done, and I'll show you her picture, how she looks in the comics compared to the toy, from a deck of DC Bombshells playing cards. They do not come with any of these figures, but this deck of cards can be bought separately. So I'll just show you how she looks on a playing card compared to the figure. And here she is breaking the chains, showing her strength, and on top it says she can do it. That's pretty much the kind of thing that you would see on the historical poster for the woman workers. There is a lady who is showing her muscle, and the inscription is very much the same. She can do it, or we can do it. So there it is, in comparison. And I think they got the sculpt pretty good, pretty right. So it's not really a misfire, not by any means. It looks just right. Now I'm going to show you some of her interchangeable hands and her accessories. Well, the first accessory she has is this cement block that's connected with a chain all the way to a ball at the end. Now, the way I see it, first of all, I tried to put it in her hand to hold either this particular end, but it doesn't work because it just doesn't look right. So the only way to try and hold her weapon is to hold it by one of the chain pieces here and to just plug it in that way. So she could practically use this as a double-ended weapon to hit with the ball or the cement block. They're connected not by a real chain but by a plastic one. The other weapon she has that can properly fit into her gripping hand is this wrench, and here is one of the hands. Now of course the wrench is not molded into the hand, it's two separate pieces, but I just put it for you to see how it looks like. And of course she has a good grip on this wrench if you put her to hold the handle at the very bottom. And some of the other hands she comes with, again one more of the gripping ones, and one that's with a sort of a wider open grip to it. And that's pretty much as far as her extra hands and the accessories go. The next one I'm going to talk about is Poison Ivy. She's known as the enemy of Batman, and here she's portrayed in a reimagined sort of way that she's wearing a type of lingerie clothes in regards to emphasizing her deadly beauty and so forth. Why do I say deadly? She has the control over plants, and she can command the plants to do her bidding, meaning that she can commit any crime. She can also kill people with the plants and so forth and so forth. So it seems that they try to portray her here wearing the kind of lingerie that was used by women in the 1940s roughly. And the hairstyle is from roughly 1940s. You can see that, the way it looks. She still has her green skin, and she has a sculpted rose in her hair. And she has plants molded onto her arms. On the left arm it's all the way across the arm, and in this in the right arm it's at the bottom part between the elbow and the wrist, so it's all around it. This rose she's holding is removable. you can remove it, and she has a specific type of molded hand to just hold the rose. And she wears a high heel shoes. The articulation is very much the same as in Wonder Woman. Not really much of a difference, it's pretty much the same. And she also comes with the interchangeable hands, which I will show you in a minute. But before I do, I should actually show you how she looks compared to the playing card, where she's portrayed, the way she's portrayed in comics. So again, they pretty much got her right. There is no hit and miss as well, so most of these characters were pretty much replicated from the comics, so they look exactly right. Now, what kind of accessories she comes with, I'll show you in a second. Let's put her here. She comes with this bendable flycatcher plant that's made of plastic, and I'm sure there is a bendable wire inside, because you can mold it around her body any which way, so that the plant is sort of an accessory to her. And she also comes with some of these interchangeable hands. So there is a fist one, there is an open hand one, and another type as well that looks like she is about to release a deadly poison from one of her plants. So that is all for these two. I will cover the Batwoman and Harley Quinn there in the next video after a short break. I'll catch you guys in a bit. Thanks. Bye.